listening to A Band of Gamers, podcasting since 2012. Three older best mates share a few laughs and keep you current with discussions about the latest news, consoles, and games. Join the conversation and the community. abandofgamers.com.
And now, episode 248 of A Band of Gamers podcast.
Hey, welcome. How's it going? Welcome back. Been a while. 3 weeks, I think, right?
It feels like it.
Well, at least.
We've got a great episode, though. You know, you wait a couple weeks and it's just the news just builds up. So by the time we get back together, there's a lot to talk about. That's a good thing.
Let's go, boys.
So in this episode, details from the latest Nintendo Direct. PlayStation adds one of the best games ever made to PlayStation Now. That's right. Putting that flag in the sand there. An update on console shortages, when will they be available to buy? And a story from Kotaku about them potentially supporting some piracy. The hell's going on with that? Thank you for joining us. You can listen to our past episodes. You can find them on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeart, Pandora, everywhere. Just if there's a place and there's podcasts, we're there. Be sure to subscribe to get the latest episode as soon as it's released. Support your boys here at ABOG. I'm Joel, your MC, recording in Brookfield, Wisconsin, USA. Joining me on this podcast journey, my two best mates. First of all, from Birmingham, England, the man of the aisle. It's Carl.
And if ever there was a play on words, that's it. I've used them all now. We've been around a little break, got on an aeroplane and everything. So
What?
Yeah, I know, right? Scary. So we braved hours and hours of airports and travelled overseas to go to the Isle of Man, which is literally, you're not even in the air for like 20 minutes from Liverpool to the Isle of Man. But we went over to see some friends and stuff, and it was just a great time, relaxing, putting the feet up, and just get used, kind of ease you back into the old getting on a plane and just being in the airport and stuff. And it wasn't too bad, I must admit. It was, a little bit weird, face masks on the flight and all the rest of it, but yeah, I think we've kind of like a baby step, for maybe getting that transatlantic action going shortly, but we'll see.
There you go.
Here I am thinking he walked down the aisle or something, like holding out or something.
Like you wouldn't have been there, you two. Come on.
Yes, true.
And the other voice you hear there from Vancouver, Canada, save your predictions. Burn your assumptions. It's Shane. Hey, Shane.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, everyone.
Hello.
It's so good to be back.
The enthusiasm is just dripping off that beard.
Right? Fired up, man. It's going to be good, man. There's lots of news and, hockey's back. By the time this episode is out and in your ears, the puck has been dropped, and I'm actually more fired up for this season of hockey in a long time.
Yeah, why is that? Have you figured that out, or just are? Don't know.
I'm excited for a few teams this year, and I really think that there's some good players that I got my eyes on that I want to see do well, and I'm going to be following them and see what happens. Should be a good year. It's back to the first full season in a couple of years. With the let's do it, man. Let's drop the puck here on another episode.
I like it. I love the excitement for hockey and for ABOG Nintendo Direct on 9/23, just shortly after we last recorded, I think.
Yeah,
a while back. But lots of news there. There's a giant list. I don't know if I want to read the whole thing, but I suppose I can kind of just go through the highlights. I'll just read it quickly. Put on my auctioneer voice, just race through this damn thing.
Right?
Go for it.
We can talk about anything that caught some interest for many of us three. So they talked about Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, which is DLC for Rise, scheduled to release summer 2022. Mario Party Superstars, out October 29th, later this month. Voice of Cards, The Isle Dragon Roars. It's a fresh take on tabletop RPGs, out in October. Disco Elysium, The Final Cut, finally coming to the Switch digitally October 12th, coming to retail later on, so that'll be out by the time this is in your podcast feeds. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity DLC, expansion pass. Chocobo GP, some kart racing. which I wrote looks like Mario Kart ripoff, to be honest.
Yeah.
Kirby and the Forgotten Land. It's a freely move around 3D world out spring of 2022. That one looked pretty damn good in my opinion. Animal Crossing New Horizons. More content, of course, coming in November. A special Nintendo Direct. We'll share the details of that in October this month. Mario Golf. Promise some free content. That's out as of the time they aired this thing back in September. Probably some courses or something, not sure. Disney Magical World 2. Enchanted Edition. Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, November 11th. Let's stop here and chat for a minute. So PlayStation announced, right? Knights of the Old Republic, but that's like a redo. That's a full-on rebooted, not remastered. They're like redoing that game, right? Same game, same story, but they're doing it completely fresh in the new engines. Is that correct?
Absolutely, mate. Built from the ground up. That's a total remake. This one was a real surprise because the game's been around on PC for so long now. You think the last thing you probably expected someone to re-release it, but here comes the Switch. Just in case you haven't had a chance to play the original clunky masterpiece. Yeah, here it comes, November the 11th. If it had a physical, I think it might be digital only. I'm not sure, but if it had a physical copy, I might be tempted. Just to have that there, because you never know, it might go from your Steam library at some point in time. But it's a great game, and if you want to experience it as it was originally meant to be, then why not? But got to be priced correctly, I think.
That's got to look a little dated now, right? I know you tried it not that long ago, Carl. It's an old game. That's from the Xbox in what, 2005, 2003? I don't know. It goes way back.
I want to say 2003. I think I know. I've owned it a long, long time, and I only finished it this year. So it's one of those. But it actually plays, pretty well. Like if you're familiar with the old the BioWare, Mass Effect kind of games, it does still have a certain charm to it. Story's really good, and the combat isn't bad. It does hold up. You can still play it now, and obviously you haven't got any of the annoying PC stuff that you would get on the Switch. You haven't got to worry about it crashing on your graphics card and not being quite hitting that full screen display and things like that. So it might, if you've never played it, why not? At least it's something to compare the remake to as well. If you got both consoles.
Shane, any interest in Star Wars? You pulling out those DVDs that you've got really nice versions of to watch this movie ever?
Oh, buddy, am I?
No?
Not yet.
I didn't think so. I had to ask.
I know.
Those are they're in some sort of glass case, in case of the end of the world, break glass, and then he'll sit down and watch them.
Yeah. Probably.
I don't know, man. Those, from our youth, right, Carl? Very, very nostalgic. Films, but just to watch it now at age 40-something, having never seen it, I'm not sure it would hold up. Not sure.
Whoa, did you just age Shane by 10 years?
He's 40-something.
Trying to. Luckily, the folks know how young I am, so.
Dying Light 2, Stay Human, cloud version, February 4th, 2022, free demo same day. Hey. Dying Light Platinum Edition. So the first time Dying Light's on the Switch, right? October 19th. So just a few days after this show is released. Pretty cool. Dying Light. Dying Light 2, Stay Human. That's the new one? Is that one already?
Yeah. I don't think it's so.
They've been talking.
It's coming out soon. Sure.
I've been talking about Dying Light for so long. I'm not even sure if it's 2 or 3. I have no idea which one we've been waiting on. It's 2.
They've absolutely milking that series. At least that first game. There's had probably 2 or 3 different editions. But there's a sequel. Kind of fun. I played a bit of the first one. It wasn't tragic or anything. I wish the weapons would have lasted a little bit longer. It seems like you're spending more time crafting stuff than actually taking down some zombies and whatnot, but I guess at the end of the day, the goal is to survive and not to kill every zombie. But it's a good series. A lot of people love it, and probably be a lot more of the same. Just maybe some new tweaks and be on next gen consoles, which will look fantastic. So it'll be good.
Yeah, it didn't bother me in Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild's such an amazing game, right, Carl? That when the weapons break, it's worth crafting. So if I have a buddy who's been plugging Dying Light and telling me to play it. I still haven't gotten around to it. Thumbs down, Carl, on the or are you just my troll at the Breath of the Wild?
I'm just not a fan of the mechanic. I've been playing a little bit of Diablo 2 Resurrection, and I forget about the durability on the weapons. It's like kind of forget about it in Diablo 3 because you're constantly at the blacksmith, and you're constantly repairing items and stuff, and it just hits a little bit harder, when you go back to these older games, they haven't quite got the the system refined yet, and that's just what Breath of the Wild reminded me of, but it's not terrible.
We could just do a show arguing about Breath of the Wild and just counterpoint, debate the whole episode. True. Obviously, one of the best games ever made. Triangles, I get the last word in there. Triangle Strategy, March 4th, 2022. This is one that we think we've seen previously. Maybe it was E3 or something. They showed this RPG.
Yeah, it was like a work in progress. They didn't really have a name for it. This is the one that looks very much like Octopath Traveler. Not sure if it's the same dev. I'd assume it is, but definitely looks like that kind of game.
They also talked about Metroid Dread, which is now out. Just came out this past week for those listening at home. Released October 8th. Getting some pretty good reviews. And I hear it's balls hard. Extremely tough game.
Good.
Yeah. Super hard, and but we'll come to the Kotaku article in a little bit. But just if you're worried about it being really difficult, then just emulate it instead of buying it.
Oof. Nintendo Switch Online. This was some of the biggest news out of the presser, in my opinion. The Nintendo Direct, I should say. The new membership plan. So yay, they're adding a tier. They probably have to pay some more money. Unclear yet how much more. I'm on the family plan, which I think is $35 a month. A year, US. That gets my wife and I access to the online service. So you get some, I don't know what you get with that, just online gaming. I forget if there's any other perks. I don't know if the cloud storage is part of that. I know you also get in the Nintendo Switch Online, you get access to the
like some old Super Nintendo and NES games.
Thank you, Super Nintendo, NES, and they just added, this is the newsworthy item, N64 games.
Whoa,
rumored for a long time. Of course, they're coming at some point, right? That time is now. So initial games will be shared soon, and then they'll keep adding to it, like they have the Nintendo and Super Nintendo collections on the Switch. Big fan of the N64 back in the day. Also, hard to go back and play those games now with their tons of polygons in those 3D games, and just a little rough on the eyes. Great games though.
They, like you said, they just don't hold up as bizarrely hold up as well visually as 16-bit and 8-bit ones do. How do you feel about paying more for it though, Joel?
I think so,
Switch, dude. Yeah, you in?
Am I going to pay more for it, or are you just saying?
Yeah.
Why? Sure. Why not? I do everything. I buy it all. Yeah. Sure. Bring it. They know there's suckers like me out there. That's why they do this, right? Another $5 a year. It's probably not going to be much. I'm guessing $5 a year.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? And to be fair, it's pretty reasonable compared to the other ones, the other consoles online offerings, isn't it? So kind of feels about right.
Yep. The other announcement, Sega Genesis games. Going to be in there soon as well. Also, initial games were shared. I didn't put those in the notes, and then more games coming soon. For N64 and for Sega Genesis, think about the top tier popular first-party games. They're going to be there right away, and then they'll roll out some other ones later on. So, pretty cool, I guess, right? Sega Genesis, man, they got everything on there. It's like the retro console and tons of new releases also, including a bunch of the third-party stuff that hits the other consoles coming to the Switch. Switch has got it all. That device just has everything. Except for Ratchet and Clank and the first-party Forza games or something. I don't know. It's got everything. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And all that launches late October, so later this month you get your hands on some N64 games, some Sega Genesis games. Probably got to pony up a few more dollars. I don't know the details on that yet. Good news, existing plans, like folks like myself, can change over to the new plan. No shit.
Right.
No shit.
Idea.
Yeah. Gee, thanks for pointing that out. I thought you were going to lock everybody out. Like, you're going to have to buy everything all off. That was the weirdest bit of news there. And you can buy old school style N64 and Sega Genesis controllers through the Nintendo Online store to play.
Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, play those on the Switch. I think so too.
I like when they do that. Like have the official controllers and whatnot. Yeah, they're really cool. I mean, there's definitely, some more affordable options out there for those that are looking for it with, 8-bit dough and whatnot. They make some fantastic, retro style controllers and whatnot. But, it's Nintendo. They're obviously going to put out the officially licensed N64 controller and Genesis gamepad. Looks like the Genesis gamepad is going to be the 3-button controller, unless you decide to import one from the land of the rising sun. In Japan, they will be offering the 6-button, the latter Genesis controller.
Yeah.
So, big news out of Nintendo, boys.
Yeah, they're killing it. And then they got the new OLED console out also this past week.
Right.
Like the other two consoles, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, impossible to find at the moment. So if you want one, good luck. Go play all the tricks and games you can come up with on the internet to try and get your hands on one, because right now they're selling like hotcakes. I'm not upgrading my Switch. I'm waiting for like a Pro or something. A bigger screen, a better screen. And it's the same from checked out a couple of YouTube reviews. It's the same size as the current Nintendo Switch. It's just, it doesn't have that bevel around the edge of the screen. So that little bevel goes away. It just stretches the screen a tiny bit bigger, with the exact same footprint as far as the Switch. It's the exact same size. So the screen is just minutely bigger, probably brighter with it being OLED. But everything else runs the same. It's the same thing.
Yeah, when it's in the dock all the time, it doesn't matter, does it? So I'm like you, mate. I won't be changing mine.
True.
Oh, then it spawned the never-ending rumors of the 4K Switch. That everybody, seems to think that, the dev kits that were sent out that, had a 4K capability. So that rumor mill, fired up again. And it seems like endless rumors when it comes to Nintendo and their hardware. Like we've been hearing that since the Switch released, but we'll see what they do.
Yeah, and I think rightfully so, man. They're the console makers that always iterate. I mean, we're in that world now with PlayStation and Xbox, where they put out the Pros and the One X's and all that crap. Nintendo's been doing this for way longer.
Yeah.
Especially with like the DS and the DS Lite and the 3DS and the Wii and the Wii U, which is not the same console, but it might as well be with that shitty naming convention that they used.
Well, back on the NES, the top loader, and they revised the Super Nintendo a few times as well.
Mm-hmm.
The Super Nintendo Mini, or that they called, or the Junior, I think it was. So,
I wonder what they'll do. I don't know if they're going to do a Switch Pro or a Switch 4K. That thing has been out so long now. I think it's time for like a Switch 2. I don't know if you guys agree, but if you're going to put out a 4K and a Pro, call it a Switch 2 and say it works with all the Switch games. Or would that be too confusing?
Or a Switch U.
Oh God.
Wow. Nah, I don't think they need to really even go to the 4K route. They got a good piece of hardware and it's working, and the games that are coming on they do look gorgeous. They don't need the 4K, and just keep going. They seem to be usually kind of like a generation behind when it comes to graphics anyway, and they just find a way to have them show off the hardware in their own way. So
it was frustrating for me because I'm like Carl. I always play it when it's docked, but there are games that take performance hits for being docked. Doesn't that seem backwards? I mean, the console is obviously so intended to be handheld that when you put it in a dock, and you run it through an HDMI cable to the TV, it performs worse. I'd rather the Switch perform better when it's docked, and when you take it with you, it'd be worse. It's just very weird. It's a excuse my language, it's a mind fuck, if you will, the way that is set up. I find that utterly confusing. Anybody else? Show of hands for our listeners.
Yeah,
right?
I do totally, but it depends if it's designed for the 720p display. I think and then it's stretched out onto the monitor, like it can cause issues.
And of course,
I love Xenoblade Chronicles, but like 2. It is the best game on the Switch. Don't listen to Joel.
Yeah.
And when it's docked, it looks lovely. Well, and handheld mode is just fuzzy as hell. Like it's really, really ugly. And it's just one of those, and you're just like, oh, we dock it, should be great. But yeah, there are complete flip scenarios, and it's a head scratch.
Well, I got more games to go. I'm only halfway through the list. There's such a long Nintendo Direct. Shadowrun Trilogy, Castlevania, Advanced Collection, which is out now.
It's a great collection.
Yeah, I haven't looked into that one, but Castlevania is a great series.
Yep, there's a bunch of titles in there. That and the Contra collection. I think they both kind of go hand in hand. Those two titles. Big collection of games in there, games from the Game Boy and whatnot that go across a bunch of different generations. So they're a really good package. Really good package for, if you grew up and love those titles, definitely pick them up. And they're always on sale as well.
Contra, I always needed the cheat code.
Always, still do.
That game was too hard. You can get enough lives in that game without the cheat code. ActRaiser Renaissance, Super Nintendo game being remastered in HD. Out now. Available right away. Shane, your Super Nintendo guy here. What do you think? ActRaiser Renaissance. You in?
Oh boy, am I.
Not your type of game, is it?
Right? Just finally give me a reason to open my Switch. No, I don't have a Switch yet. So.
Deltarune Chapter 2. Hot Wheels Unleashed, which I think Shane's been playing.
What?
Surviving the Aftermath, Shin Megami Tensei 5. Carl, so it's Japanese words there. Is that a game you're interested in?
Yeah, well, that's a great show. Yeah, it's a Persona, isn't it? I'd say you got the Persona series, which is more sort of catered for the Western, Shin Megami Tensei, which is the Japanese original. So, yeah. There's a few of these games floating around now. The different versions have come out on the PlayStation, there's a couple on the Switch. So, I don't think I'm going to get time to play them all. But yeah, this is on the radar.
Wreckfest, it's a game from 2 years ago?
Yep,
last
been a couple years now.
Mm-hmm. That's coming to the
solid title.
Solid game, you say?
Indeed.
Good. Well, there you go. Switch owners who don't have PlayStations and Xboxes, you can play some Wreckfest. Arcade Archives Pac-Man and Arcade Archives Xevious. What? Huh?
Yeah.
Weren't those games already available? I'm surprised that Pac-Man is a new release there on Arcade. They've Arcade archived everything, including like the arcade version of Bubble Bobble, some really obscure games. And now we're just getting Pac-Man?
Yep.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Thought that would have been at the front of the Arcade Archives list. Rune Factory 5. Another game coming soon. And then the closing, the big news out of the Nintendo Direct. They're making a Mario movie.
Yes.
It's coming holiday 2022. Working with a big shot. His name is Chris. And Chris Meledandri. He's the Illumination CEO. He was part of Despicable Me. So I'm assuming it's going to have the very digital style animation.
Yeah.
Like those movies have. Mario is going to be voiced by Chris Pratt. Very strange. I can't imagine
Very strange.
Chris Pratt being Mario. All right.
I love it. To be fair, I think when I was looking at Twitter and just seeing some of the reactions to these things, and a friend of the show, Sleeper Hit, was talking about this Mario movie, and he was sort of saying, "I'm so disappointed it's not a live action movie." Like, I don't know if you remember the Bob Hoskins Mario film, but I grew up with that, and it was truly awful. But has
with John Leguizamo in there?
Yeah,
legend.
Just got that little hint of nostalgia, isn't it? It's so bad, it's almost it's just got a cult following. And I was hoping that they do. Imagine if they did this live action with Jack Black as Bowser, and just like a really bad costume on him or something. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, you can't do it unless you're doing like a Star Wars kind of a thing, where some of it's people and then other ones are drawn in, like Jurassic Park did so well all those years ago, and it seems like every movie studio hasn't pulled it off as well here all these years later.
Or they was it that Pikachu movie that came out a couple years ago?
Oh yeah,
Something like
Detective Pikachu. Yeah, that was great.
Oh yeah, with Ryan Reynolds.
I enjoyed that.
Ryan Reynolds would be a better Mario than Chris Pratt.
Oh yeah, I'm not arguing with that.
Just it's a weird choice there. I don't quite understand that. Why don't they just have the regular Mario guy be Mario?
Right? It's a cartoon. Why not?
Yeah, it's a cartoon. It's digital animation, I'm assuming. Why not have the regular voice?
How much dialogue is Mario going to have in a movie, really?
Well, it's Chris Pratt, so apparently quite a bit. Right. You're paying that guy, right?
It's just going to say it's a me, Mario, or whatnot,
Was Nolan North unavailable? I mean, why is it Nolan North, the new Mario?
Right. Yeah, somewhere he's fuming. But apparently the guy who doesn't, his name escapes me, but the guy who normally voices Mario is in this movie. He's doing a couple of other voices or something. So I think that's going to be a bit difficult for him to swallow, right?
That's really strange.
Mm-hmm. Some sidekick that just does Mario impressions throughout the movie.
Yeah, a Mario fan or something.
He's like he's like a toadstool now. Peach is voiced.
Oh no!
Peach is voiced by Anya Taylor-Joy.
Ooh,
she's from Queen's Gambit, Netflix.
Yes,
she's a very good actress. And Luigi, Charlie Day, which I kind of like that.
Interesting.
Like that casting. And Bowser, as Carl indicated earlier, it's Jack Black, which I think that could work. But yeah, Nintendo fans rejoice. Get yourself a Mario movie coming out where you're going to have to listen to Mario talk for the whole movie, which will make no sense because Mario's never talked more than "It's a me, Mario." He doesn't talk.
What I'm saying.
What's he got? What kind of story are they going to put with that? He's going to go looking for the queen if she's not in the castle, and he's going to have like some soliloquy about it for 10 minutes.
Right.
No
Shakespearean Mario movie.
No interest. No interest in this, as I wasn't interested in the Sonic movie, as I wasn't interested in a Pikachu movie.
That was good, though. That was good.
I don't need any of these crossovers. Was it Sonic one?
Yeah, Sonic was really good. It's got Jim Carrey in it, and Jim Carrey's a boss. It's great.
Wonderful. Anything else?
Ringing endorsement.
Anything you guys? Anything of interest there besides what we just talked about from Nintendo Direct? Any opinions, comments?
I don't think anything specific. I think it's just another strong. It's just another strong showing from, isn't it? All these games that are already out, but it just means they have a regular churn of stuff coming through, as well as a sprinkling of their own, first party stuff. So, yeah, strong from them.
Yeah,
as expected. They usually, their direct conferences type things are usually pretty solid, and this is another one. Not too bad.
I was waiting for the scoop on the new Zelda game, the Breath of the Wild 2. This is the follow-up. I sat through this. No, I sat through this entire thing waiting for a speckle of dust on that. Got nothing.
No.
Nothing.
No.
That game was supposed to be this year, I believe, but obviously pandemic and everything else. Assuming it's pushed.
Mm-hmm. Pushed to the Wii. Pushed to the Switch U.
The Switch U. Damn it. In other news on PlayStation consoles, The Last of Us Part 2 out on PlayStation Now this month. Pretty awesome. While PlayStation Now is only available for PlayStation 4, The Last of Us Part 2 will be a slight exception. Subscribers that download the game on their PS5 will also be able to download the PS5 Performance Patch.
Cool.
Allowing them to play the upgraded version of the late stage PlayStation 4 game. The Last of Us Part 2 will be available on PlayStation Now until January 3rd, 2022. That's not a long time. It's just a few months.
Yeah. It's not too bad, though. I mean, there's games that, the larger, AAA titles, and they've been on there for a few months. And, I've done that with Game Pass as well. Like Red Dead and whatnot was on for a few months. Seems all right. I think it's January is so. We're almost at the end of this year, man. This year went fast, boys.
That's what I'm saying. It's about 3 months, and then that thing is yanked.
Right?
I mean, not even. Game Pass, I think, holds their games longer than 3 months. At least that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Most of them. Yeah, I've seen a few on there where they've kind of chopped them pretty quick, and folks, you go buy it. The games are, come on.
Were they still doing multiplayer for Last of Us 2? I know that it released without it, and I was kind of talking about potentially bringing that out afterwards. All that seems to have gone really quiet. So I'm just assuming that they've just not bothered.
I'm not aware of any multiplayer. I mean, the only reason I played that game was for that first player story. The single player, excuse me. I mean, that game is amazing.
Yeah. I have seen stuff where in some of the PlayStation studios where they've been hiring some specific teams solely to work on some multiplayer. It seems like PlayStation's going to try to get back into the multiplayer aspect as they did on the PlayStation 3. And, they kind of got away from that through the life of the PlayStation 4. It was more about the, single player, epic AAA, cinema style storylines and whatnot. But it seems like they're trying to get back into that. So I could see it happening. I think it might be later down the road, and might be something to possibly tie in around the television show that's been filming right now. So who knows?
A good shape.
Yeah, I think multiplayer for this game would need to be like almost a different game entirely. Like Last of Us Part 2. No, Last of Us Zombie Apocalypse. I don't know.
Right.
It needs to be a whole different title, even though they're not.
The first
zombies,
one had
infected
multiplayer, and there's a lot of people that were fans of that. Naughty Dog's kind of. I mean, it seems like the Uncharted multiplayer games as well, just kind of characters that were skinned out of characters from the actual throughout the game and whatnot, and it always kind of felt the same. But people like them.
I'm thinking
they seem to work. They make great games.
Thinking like Red Dead Online, for example. It may use the same engine, but has nothing to do with the single player. Or Grand Theft Auto Online.
There we go. Yeah.
Nothing to do with the single player experience. Completely separate. That's what I would think of Last of Us having a multiplayer aspect now.
Yeah.
But we shall see. And then also releasing in October on PlayStation Now, Fallout 76, Desperados 3, Amnesia Collection, including The Dark Ascent, A Machine for Pigs, and Justine.
Ooh.
Final Fantasy VIII Remastered, Yet Another Zombie Defense HD, and Victor Vran Overkill Edition.
Yep, and they're supposed to get a Final Fantasy game, a new one, each month on PlayStation Now, I think till like January or February. So it's only a few more months left.
Ooh.
But yeah, they've been putting a different Final Fantasy game up on PlayStation Now, a new one each month. So keep the fans of the series happy. Get back in there, or maybe go back and play one that you haven't played in a bit.
Yeah,
Lots of stuff.
Keep reminding people that, hey, we've got Final Fantasy and you don't. Xbox.
Now they're both on there, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they are. Until I screwed that up. But I'm not going to edit it out, because who cares? No. Next news story, Xbox shortage expected to continue until 2022, per Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, speaking to The Wrap. I think it's probably too isolated to talk about it as just a chip problem, he said. I wanted to expand this conversation in being, they're both going to be hard to get.
Oh, yeah.
Until 2022, because of the chip shortage. Yes, Phil Spencer, it's a chip shortage. Most definitely. Yep. I mean, you can't even buy like cars because of chip shortages. And there's so many things affected by the dishwashers. Just everything's affected by chip shortage.
Yep. I keep getting phone calls and letters of the dealership wanting to buy my car back and whatnot because they're no stock. Can't find anything.
Yeah, and they're selling them for a premium.
Oh, yeah.
They're not selling any cars, but apparently they're selling them at such a escalated rate that they're still making the same money as if they would have when they had the inventory.
Yep.
It's crazy.
It's wild.
Wow.
More comments from Phil Spencer. When I think about what does it mean to get the parts necessary to build a console today and then get it to the markets where the demand is, there are multiple kind of pinch points in that process. And I think regretfully it's going to be with us for months and months. Definitely through the end of this calendar year and into the next calendar year. The thing that's most disappointing is just the fan disappointment. People really want this new generation of consoles. They're good consoles, both from us and the other platform holders, and they want the new functionality. We're working hard to bring them to market, but it's going to be a challenge that we'll work through for quite a while. And then last month, Japanese manufacturer Toshiba Also said that the supply of materials needed for console makers to produce semiconductors will remain very tight until September 2022. So there's a major...
Yeah, I see this going well into 2023 even. I think
so.
Yeah. With the, shipping costs and container shortages that are going to be running well into 2022. It's not cheap to get a can from overseas, and I've even seen rumors of PlayStation, Xbox, price increases coming to the already expensive consoles, for next gen, just to help cover some of the costs to get them over here, because it's not cheap and there's not a lot of subsidies, but it's what it is, and we just gotta get through it, and hopefully the market settles, and there's a few more consoles out there for everybody to get a hold of that want to get into, like you said, and want the new functionality. And there's a lot of great titles that are coming out as well, and folks want to get their hands on them. They want to play the best version of them, and that's unfortunately going to be a little bit this time.
No, we've said it before, and I'll say it again, and it pissed one of our friends off, unfortunately. But there's no reason to buy these consoles yet. I mean, it's fun to have the new shiny. Of course, we all want the new shiny, and we did it. We bought them, but there's not much. There's not much there, quite frankly. I mean, trust me, there's not much there. I don't know if you guys feel differently, Shane and Carl, but there's 1 or 2 or 3 games. I mean, literally, just wait.
Yeah, it's a literal handful, isn't it? I mean, I'm trying to think of the exclusives on PS5 that I've played. Returnal, Ratchet and Clank. Might be it. I think
there's enough there games wise right now. It's going to get better.
Yeah.
But I think there is enough there that justify and show off the new consoles. There definitely is, and there's enough there to keep you going for a bit. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's just a console. It's not the end of the world, and it's not something that everybody needs right away. It's just when new consoles you get announced, and obviously everybody wants one, and there's gamers are very passionate. They're a very passionate bunch, for good and bad. And when it comes to you're unable to get their hands on something that is that they are that passionate about, it gets ugly, and it gets ugly really quickly. But there's going to be a lot more games coming. So,
I would think, though, the majority of people who really wanted one have got one by now. I would
for sure.
think, the people who've been like up at 4 o'clock in the morning when you get that email from Argos or Amazon or somebody who says, "Oh, we're gonna have some in stock at 6 a.m." You just set that alert to pop up, don't you? There's ways and means. I think if you haven't got one by this point, you've probably been pretty unlucky to not try and source one.
And there's enough people selling them out there as well. Like it's you can get your hands on one
for
it's just
for almost twice as much.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is how far you're willing to go.
They've come down in the scalper market. They've come down. I think I've seen them in the States now. PlayStation 5s, which are $500 consoles, going for like $700 to $800.
Yeah.
So not double, but still ridiculously expensive. I'm frustrated that you can't get these. I wish everybody who wanted one could buy one. I think the decision to release the consoles when they did, in a time when you can't get the chips and all these other factors, sucks. I wish they would have waited a year, to be honest. But yes, I don't mean to be patronizing. We bought one right away. I got them both. But I'll be completely honest here and up front. I barely even turn my consoles on all summer. It's a summer thing for me,
That's true.
I'm outside. It's Wisconsin. Yep. You got 3 months to enjoy the sun, and
you're right.
Then you're locked away in the snow-forbidden forest for fucking months at an end. But I don't feel the new shiny with these yet. I really don't. Doesn't feel like the jump that you typically feel when you get a new console.
Yeah, it's definitely been. A lot of emphasis has been on being able to play those last generation games and seeing, the upgrade patches that have been coming out for them, and including some of the new features for the this new generation of functionality to some of these older games. It seems like there has been a lot of emphasis on that, and a lot of people going back and replaying some old titles, but yeah, they're out there.
Buddy asked me today, Vince, shout out to Vince.
Legend.
He's going to buy Far Cry 6.
What?
He's like, can I play that on the Xbox One X? I'm like, sure. He's like, well, which would be better, Xbox One X or PlayStation 4? He doesn't have a Pro. And I said, well, probably the Xbox One X.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's kind of like the PlayStation 4 version of the Xbox. It's a little upgraded. It should run smoother. But here's the minefield. Go read reviews, because is it going to be like Cyberpunk where you need the new console for the game to run well? Or is it going to run sufficiently well on a PlayStation 4 or an upgraded Xbox One X? The fact that these games, we're in the PC world now, Shane.
Yep.
You got to read your specs before you buy a game. That blows.
It does. I really wish they would just, a lot of these titles, just stick to building it to a certain generation and make it, so making it for everyone. There'll be people. I mean, obviously they got to recoup costs. I mean, games, we were talking last episode, games are costing $100 million, right? You have to recoup that cost, and if people can't get the consoles, they're not going to recoup the costs in a timely manner to keep investors and the banks and whatnot happy, right? So they're kind of forced to spread it around and put it on a couple different generations just to make sure you hit those numbers. But unfortunately, with that, some versions are going to be a little bit inferior to others, and it's unfortunately part of the business at this point.
We're all heading down that slippery PC slope.
Yep,
we are.
Like you're choosing between performance or graphical fidelity, and it was such a simpler time, wasn't it? I mean, we are on all the time about just putting a cartridge in a machine and turn it on. Either way, you don't have to worry about it all. But I think we're on this course to stay, chaps. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's something all of us console owners, well, I'm speaking for everybody, but for me personally, it's something I've appreciated about having a console. I didn't have to worry about which video card I have and how much RAM I have, and it's just how much hard drive space I need even nowadays is a thing. Just put the damn game in and it's going to play, and it's going to play well. I didn't even know what to tell Vince. I mean, I'm like the friend of the group here who knows his shit about video games, and I'm like, I don't even know, man. I think Far Cry 6 will be good on the Xbox One X. Please look into it. There's a chance it'll run like shit, and you have to have a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series S or X. No clue. That sucks. The casual gamer is just like, they're in that PC slippery slope. They're like, what the hell's going on right now? Like, can I buy this game on this system? You go to the store, it says it's for that system on the box, but then you start playing and it runs at like 20 frames or something. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Why? Or is that just a Cyberpunk thing and everything else is perfectly fine? I don't know.
I think it's Cyberpunk is just a really good example, and I think it scared a lot of gamers into thinking that if this can happen with this game, it can happen to a lot of others. Now, my boy Brian's been playing Far Cry 6, and he's just got one of the original PlayStation 4s, not the Pro and whatnot. And he's been playing it, and he hasn't said anything about having any sort of difficulties or hiccups yet. I know it's just came out a few days ago. And he would, believe me, he would be saying if it was struggling or whatnot, but it seems like it's been going fine, and I haven't seen anything of folks really complaining about it. I think it's another home run from Far Cry and another great game in the series, it seems.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. But I did see Cyberpunk is back on the PlayStation Store. And I happen to see it on there because it's on sale right now as well. So, interesting.
Cool. And last story, Kotaku was just put in here recently, enjoying the emulation of a brand new release. Carl, you want to bring us up to speed on this one?
Yeah, something you're browsing social media and you just think most of it just flies over your head and you just think, it's once in a blue moon, isn't it? But it's one of these things that I just think some things you can't let go, man. I saw this Kotaku article and it was basically, Metroid Dread, a game which Metroid fans have jumped up and down. People, they've got a die-hard cult fan base over there at Nintendo, haven't they? They love a Metroid game, wanted one for ages. New one comes out and it's good. Maybe it's not worth $60. I don't know. I haven't played it. But they've wanted one for ages, and here's a mainstream news outlet saying this game runs better on emulation on PC. Go ahead. Here's not even a proviso of like, of course you need to have bought the game originally, and then you want to dump the files onto your PC, and then you want to, none of that. Just like, oh yeah, it runs great. Here's the emulation software that's really good, and it's gross. It's a gross fucking article. And I looked at it and I was like, this is horrible. And then I looked at the comments, and there's all these entitled people going in there, and there's nothing wrong with pirating a game. Sometimes you can't afford it. I'm just like, well, if you can't afford it, don't buy the bleeding game. Like, the entitlement of people just does my head in, and to see an outlet like Kotaku putting a story like this out with no kind of, of course we don't condone it, or you make sure you bought the game yourself first. It's just horrible to read stuff like that, and you just think all them people who've desperately wanted this Metroid game, gone out and bought it, spent all this money on it, and then now they might not get another one. Like if the files just get straight out there and people are downloading them and just playing it on PC, and all of a sudden this is okay. This is okay for gamers. Apparently, this doesn't do anyone any harm because Nintendo's such a big company. It's not like a little indie developer, So obviously, morals are subjective, and it just pisses me off. So that's why I put this in the news.
That's pretty lame,
right?
And it's a lot of times it's a lot of the same folks that on scream that these developers and people that work for them need to be you need a fair wage, and they're being overworked and whatnot, but then they don't want to go and buy the game, where they complain that the fucking DLC is $40 and I should get a free upgrade and all that. But is what it is. But Kotaku's been trash. It's always been a trash publication. It's been garbage. They've posted like a lot of the people that write from just there's been a lot of shit tied to Kotaku. They're, like I said, trash publication. They've a lot of fake news articles out of them. And you know what? They're the people right from they should be ashamed. They should be ashamed of a lot of the shit that they put out. And and it all is clickbait. That's all it is. Mm-hmm. They start shit. People get upset about piracy and whatnot, and you have these guys that do this type of trash. They didn't need to put this out or say anything. If there's a black market for piracy or whatever it is, that's fine. Whatever. If you want to go search it out, you can go search it out. Do whatever the hell you want. But you have these type of organizations that are just garbage, and this is what they do. And they do this just for clicks and to start shit and get everybody in there and have their name just circling and circling. Shame on them. They're trash, and I stay far away from those sites.
Go on, Shane.
It's true, though. They are.
And there is a material difference between me writing an article on a game that's no longer on retail. Like, it's discontinued. It was 20 years old, 15 years old, whatever you want it to be, and say, right, this is how you can get this running and experience this game, because the publisher, the devs, this is no longer available for you to get, right, outside of this current piracy way of doing it. But don't do it on a game that came out last fucking week.
That's what I'm saying. There's only one reason you're doing it. You know what I mean? And
just to get reactions from people like me who are like, man in his 40s shakes fist at cloud.
No, man, there's no clouds in England. Come on. You guys are still in a drought. It hasn't rained in what, like 30 years over there?
Mate, it always rains over here.
That's what I'm saying.
But yeah, it just hits wrong. Like, and I don't know who writes the articles for these sites these days, but
and nobody calls them out or anything. People,
Well, the comment section on this one was a few hundred comments, and I was like, "Oh, these will be interesting," because I bet there's going to be loads of outrage. But for all the outrages, just as many people go, "Yeah, it's fine, doesn't hurt anybody." I don't know about you, lads. I don't know I'm showing my age here, but I always think of that, that article, and like the little bit at the beginning of the theatre when it was like, you had the voiceover for the dude who was like, "You wouldn't steal a car, you wouldn't steal a handbag,
Oh my God.
Why steal a movie?" That kind of thing. And it's just like, yeah, I know we all know it happens, but it's don't happen.
You wouldn't shit in a policeman's helmet. And then leave it on his doorstep.
That's another story.
Carl does that. Carl does that voice pretty well there. He sounds like the dude, really. I mean, doing that movie intro thing.
Because he is the dude.
Well
it's
done.
Part of my voice acting reel.
Well done. Now,
anyway, I just poured my beer because it's got me all fired up, and I gotta say that is a glorious looking fucking.
That
beer,
is
boys.
glorious, and that take was glorious. I'm so glad you called him out. I have not read the article. I trust what Carl's saying here.
Yep.
As far as what was reported, but if that's the case, and they're telling you to go emulate a game, I mean, you're talking about biting the hand that feeds you. I mean, Nintendo's a big deal. You're going to tell people to go around their back and emulate a game. Well, guess who's cutting you off and giving you nothing going forward? I mean, we all got to work together. We're all in this industry together. We're all a team. I agree. It's got to be some clickbaity. And that's what bothers me nowadays. I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tirade here, but that's what bothers me is about media in general right now. It's so opinionated. It's so sensationalized. It's all about getting that click. Finding actual fucking news nowadays is damn near impossible. It's extremely frustrating. I know it's the internet. I know the internet's full of nonsense. But where do you go to get the facts? It's like, I feel like I'm back in middle school, where I got to go to the library and get the encyclopedia out and copies of Time magazine and piece together and write a paper to come up with the facts. That's what finding the facts feels like on the internet right now. I have to piece together podcasts and YouTube videos from all sorts of alternative sources to figure out what is the truth. I'm not even sure if that's even the truth, but it seems way more in line with the truth than just trusting one media site or one video game site. It sucks. It just sucks. The internet was designed to be, at least initially, this wealth of information. It's that encyclopedia. It's everything at your fingertips. And to a certain extent, it still is. But you have to wade through so much bullshit and so much bias that, I'm surrounded by people who believe this shit. You get around them, there's like, bah, 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 bah. I'm like, I think you've watched way too much CNN or way too much Fox News, because you're like, no, the truth lies somewhere in the middle, but you're just being completely yanked one direction. And I'm sure video game media is going to go through the same challenges and pull the same shit to get the clicks, to get the ads. And it sucks. I mean, do you guys have a place that you go for video game news nowadays? I don't. I mean, it's like, if it comes out of Nintendo, Sony's, and Microsoft's mouth,
yeah,
I'm good. If it's somebody else, I'm like, I got to then go double check and look and get the encyclopedia and go to the library and check the Dewey Decimal System to figure this shit out.
Well, and a lot of it, I mean, this article is a perfect example. You're just creating news or something, and it's like, if this doesn't come out, and then nobody's going to give two shits about it. Nobody cares. People just go on with their lives. But this website and a lot of other news sources and like day to day and whatnot, I mean, a lot of it, their news is created by them, for the sole purpose of just to get those clicks or get you to tune in and watch. And it's just a lot of non-issues that are or they turn them into an issue regarding different lifestyles or anything, when it really has nothing to do about it in the beginning, but they always like to put this little spin on it. So it's a tough time, they say the media is the virus, and a lot of times they are, but there's there still is some I don't know how to call it. But there's definitely some networks and sites out there that are still doing the right thing and are true to the what they kind of quote unquote signed up for and whatnot. So there is out there, but like Joel said, there's a lot you got to wade through and kind of piece together for yourself to see, is this really something? Is this
the best thing to do is treat it like a small child. Like for some reason, as we get older, we lose the sense of context to form an opinion, right? So people like watch a snapshot or something and they see somebody do something like, oh my God, they're horrible, or something happened, and without looking at the whole incident. And if you're a parent, like, and I'll pick on my son here, but when he was little,
nice,
come over to school and he was like, oh, yeah, so and so did this to me, so I did this, that, and the other. And you're like, you don't just take your kid's opinion carte blanche there, just like a 4 or 5-year-old of like, yeah, this kid did this to me, and then you go to the school and you talk to the head teacher or whatever, and like, well, actually, this is what happened. You need to zoom out. You need to take a step back, look at the whole story, be like, yeah, this is everything. This is all the information I can find, and now I'm going to form an opinion on it. People are just too eager to just bounce on a snapshot, like, oh yeah, this is truth. This is the truth because this is what the news decided to show me. But yeah, we've gone off topic there.
That's a hell of an analogy, though. There, high five. That's
it works. It works though, right?
Yeah,
it does. Anything else?
I better crack a beer.
Yeah. I'm ready.
I'd say
after that conversation and that realization of what we deal with, and we all deal with it. I mean, just trying to find the facts is absolutely crazy. In video games, in politics, in what to eat, for cripey sakes, it's all just you're fed whatever. I don't know. Bad pun. If you'd like to support us, 3 easy ways you can do so. Tell a friend. Leave a review on iTunes, wherever you listen, or you can join us on Discord. We've got a great community over there. So check us out. It's on our website, abandongamers.com. Get a link to that Discord also in our show notes. So if you're one of those listening on a phone, which probably you are, click through the show notes, go down to the bottom there. Actually, no, it's easier to go to our website, abandongamers.com. I keep forgetting that. Some podcast providers take the HTML links out so you can no longer click on things. Thanks a lot for doing that, you bunch of jagoffs.
Love it.
Let's share what we've been drinking, and then I'm going to see if I can coerce these two guys into talking about some of the games they're playing, because I've been looking at their feeds on social media. The only social media worth looking at. These two guys. The rest of it's a bunch of garbage.
True.
But I see that they're playing some good stuff, so it's not in our agenda, but I really want to know how these games are. Before that, though, let's share what we're drinking. Shane, you go first, because you just shared the color of it, and it's a very nice looking, and he walked away, like lager ale looking color. Okay. He ran off. Carl.
He's taking a run up. I'll go first.
Thank you.
I have to share this one because I love the can. It's another Vocation beer. My good friends there supplying us with loads of great brews this year, and this one's called Wave After Wave, and it's obviously for podcast listeners this isn't great, but as you can see, Joel, it's wave after wave of your hops there with like, little Space Invaders.
Yeah, like hops coming down in rows and Space Invaders at the bottom shooting them. I love that. That's great.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's got like a cityscape in there. It's all like fun and like purples and pinks and reds and that. But it's really decent. They've consistently been hitting out of the park. This is a double dry hopped IPA, nice 6.7%. Pretty pale actually. And it's smooth, but we've got a bit of bitterness to it. Just a bit of a palate cleanser almost. So you can start if you can see through that, chaps. But it's right. Paler than it looks actually.
Yeah, a little bit see-through. Yeah. Not. I mean, you can see that it's got some thickness, but kind of can see through it. It's like a lighter color,
like a cloudy cider almost. But yeah, nice refreshing brew. Another great one from Vocation. If you haven't had the beers yet, you can get some of these in the supermarket. Definitely worth checking out.
All right, Shane, I called you out and then you ran away. But what is that? What is that delicious looking beer that you had in your glass?
Yeah, that was good. That was a good looking beer, wasn't it?
For sure.
It's from our friends at Twin Sails Brewing, located in Port Moody, British Columbia, Canada.
Nice.
This is a West Coast IPA they call Good Clean Fun. The can artwork is pretty simple, but it's in line with their entire line ish. It's got some bubbles on there, some good clean fun, and this is a very good clean West Coast IPA. They say they've taken some inspiration from East Coast IPAs. This isn't like crystal clear through there. There's a little tad bit of cloudiness in there. So I guess there's some hops in it, like a splash of water, And what they've come up is very delicious. Very good West Coast IPA. I'm liking this one. Should have bought a couple cans.
Looks really good.
But yeah, picked this one up for the show this morning. Toss it in the freezer for an hour. Ready to go.
Pro tip. Well done. I was in Sedona, Arizona on vacation during this break of the podcast and close to the West Coast. I mean, a couple 100 miles away maybe from the West Coast. And they had some good West Coast IPAs that sort of make their way over to Arizona. Man, I was enjoying them all. Just when in Rome, Yeah, you got to get those. So I love a good West Coast IPA, as I've talked about before. They don't taste any better than when you're actually on the damn West Coast.
Yeah.
The legit. We get some good ones here. I'm not gonna bust out my neighbors. Got some really good beers there.
I like to think it's more of a Pacific Northwest thing. I think they taste a little bit better.
Like it's in the dirt.
Yeah, that real piney kind of feel. And I guess when it rains for 9 months of the year as well, they're extra delicious. So
I love it. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this 1840 Brewing. Small little Milwaukee. 1840, yeah. They got a new release. This is a double IPA. It's an 8.3. So what's that? Piston Hurricane scale? I don't know where that would land. It's very good. Double dry hopped. It's called the Two-Fisted Slopper. A little bit of a story with this one. The Brewers are in the playoffs. If you look, my buddies Shane and Carl can see it's in Brewers colors, roughly. The label, kind of more the modern Brewers colors, Milwaukee Brewers. And the story on this one, this goes back a ways. They play at American Family Field, which is just renamed from Miller Park, which was built in 2000 or so, I think is when they opened that. I think the All-Star game was there that year. Prior to that, there was a stadium called County Stadium. Same site, same spot in Milwaukee. They tore that down. They built Miller Park, now AmFam Field. And they had this thing on, this goes way back. I mean, this is like 80s and 90s. Sure. But you go to a ball game and they put like the public service announcement on the scoreboard that basically says, if there's some drunk loser bothering you, please tell somebody, we'll get him out of there.
Nice.
I don't know. Is that just a Wisconsin thing? Does that come up at the ball games? I'm sure it's probably in England for sure. Maybe. I don't know.
Not so much in Canada. Well, I think that back in the day they used to. Now they just don't care. It's half the entertainment.
Well, now you got phones in your pocket, so they don't need to tell
you.
They don't need to tell you if there's a problem. Let us know. They'd hear from you already, right? But back in the day, they put on the scoreboard, and they called that at County Stadium. They showed like this fat drunk guy, and his eyes were all bloodshot, and he's got this big beer belly. He's holding like a mug, and he's like swaying back and forth. And they're like, if you're sitting next to this guy, let us know and we'll remove him. They called that guy that on the scoreboard, they call him the Two-Fisted Slopper. So this beer in homage to the Two-Fisted Slobber, it's the Two-Fisted Slopper.
Wow.
From 1840.
I thought this was America.
It's a double dry hop.
Right.
It's a hazy. I was holding it up to these guys' beers as they were holding their beers up. It's probably the most hazy looking of the three.
That's like a damn creamsicle over there.
Very, very delicious beer. I should have bought more of these. So let's raise them glasses to getting back on track here every other week for a while until next vacations.
Yeah.
In November.
Until next holiday.
Yeah.
Y'all stuck with us now.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for listening, everybody. We got more. Don't hang up. Don't go.
Yeah.
Don't turn it off. Don't pause. We see the stats. Stick around. There's more.
Yeah, I don't want the listener taking a 3-week break. Come on. We're trying to stay at it every 2 weeks.
Shane, I got to hear about this new Lego racing game. Excuse me. Hot Wheels. That's called a Lego. Sorry, that's my bad. The Hot Wheels racing game. I got to know what's going on.
Right?
Tell me about this game.
Yeah, it's a fun little kind of arcade / kart racer type dealio. And who didn't grow up playing Hot Wheels, man?
It's on those tracks, right? It's on remember them little tracks that you'd click together and do like the loop-de-loops and it's on that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, man. It's Hot Wheels are great. And I still have like some old Hot Wheels that I just can't seem to shake. They're cool, man. Hot Wheels Unleashed. It's out on all the major consoles. Fun arcade racer, absolute blast. The main thing with this game is just how fun it is. It's so much fun. The car models look incredible. It really does look next gen. They put a lot of detail into them, and not just the cars as well. The environments. It's a beautiful game. They really hit it out of the park, and it's so charming. Racing on the orange tracks, and there's magnetic parts of the track that kind of go upside down, so they're magnetic, so it keeps the car attached to it. So there's like monster loops or going up the side of the wall, and they've included some of the play sets that they had where you do a loop and it would go through and there'd be like a giant spider and it would like spit a web down to stop your car. There's those type of hazards in there as well. The dinosaur with the big jaws that would open up and then would launch the car down, and all that's fire breathing dragons, and you try to avoid the fire, and with the fire hits your car, the plastic parts on the car will actually look all melted and whatnot. So there's so much little attention to detail. Like when you finish a race and like you can see all the scratches and whatnot on the car from bouncing around the other ones on the track and whatnot, like little things like that. It's so cool. They really went all out on it. It's been a blast. It's been so much fun to play. Unlocking the cars are all done through they call blind boxes, and they look like old Hot Wheel totes that you would like store all your stuff in and whatnot, and it would pop open, and there's different tiers of cars. You got your uncommons, your rares, and then you have your legendaries, and a lot of the legendaries are some licensed vehicles, like some real world stuffs like an Audi R8, but then they're also just like the Batmobile or the Ninja Turtles party wagon, the van, stuff like that, or Snoopy when he was riding on the Snoopy's house with Woodstock on it.
Oh yeah.
There's one of those, all done up like a little hot rod and whatnot. So, you can upgrade your vehicles and whatnot. There's a livery editor in there as well. A lot of customization, create your own tracks and whatnot. If you can imagine it, you can basically build it in this game. They really did a great job with that stuff, and it's been one that I've been thoroughly enjoying. Surprisingly, really, I was kind of, when they announced it, I was like really intrigued. Like, okay, that could be cool, but some of these they never play out really that well. But this one, man, they didn't cut any corners with it. They really brought a very fun racing experience, and what, dare I say, it could be a sleeper racing game this year that could be up there at the end of the year when they've do a list of the top racing games. This is going to be up there. It definitely is. It's really well done. It's very, very fun. There's multiplayer in there as well, which I haven't tried because I don't have anybody on my friends list, and I'd rather race with friends than randos because we all know how arcade racers work with randos. It can get a little testy at times. So
yeah, this game snuck up on me. I mean, I don't know if you saw this coming, and I know you just said you were hesitant. Like, it could be great, it could be bad because it's a major brand, and who knows if that's going to get pulled off properly. But all the streams I've watched, I know Tim Paulin, friend of the show, who's posted some stuff on our ABOG Abandoned Gamers YouTube over the months. He's been streaming some, and I kind of watched a little bit just to get a flavor of the game. It looks fantastic. Looks like a ton of fun. Is this a full price game? I'm assuming it's more of a $20 less than full price? Is that accurate? That's just an assumption. Or is it a full $60 game?
Okay. Up here in Canada, on the PlayStation, I'm playing on PlayStation, by the way, obviously. Not that it makes any difference nowadays, but on the PlayStation Store, it was $67.
That's Canada prices. What's
yes?
Normally they're like what, 80 or 90 for the full price?
For like AAA stuff, yeah.
Okay.
Now, so 67 Canadian, that would probably be about $59.95. The old pricing for, in the United States. I ended up getting my copy off of Amazon, and it was, I want to say like 45, maybe $50.
Not bad.
And I've seen that be more of the cost across the board for like even on this for Switch and Xbox as well. I'm seeing a lot of like it's like a $50 game, which I think is fair. Like more than that, I don't know about that. And the reason I say that is, yeah, there's a lot of events in the game. There's some really, really cool environments and whatnot. You can got the old like a high school / college. You're racing around. There's like an office space type thing where you're racing underneath the boardroom table, and you got like the photocopier and all the stuff going around in the background. There's like a skyscraper level that you can kind of going outside of a building and just see above the clouds and whatnot, and it's all stunningly beautiful and whatnot. A lot of different variants to those courses, but I think it could have used some more locations, just a little bit more variety when it comes to the single player events. That's where, for me, it started to get a little bit stale. I mean, a little bit. I've taken a break for a few days, haven't been playing it. Definitely going back. I want to finish all the events and do that. The difficulty takes a little bit to start ramping up, but once it does, it just gets that much more fun, because there's a lot more on the line, right? A lot more rewards to win and whatnot. So because of that, it's, I think $50 tops easily. $39.95 I think is a great price for it, 100%. And obviously you want to get it for the best price you can. But that being said, it is a lot of fun, and whatever you pay for it, if you're interested in it, you are going to enjoy it. There's no way you're going to pick it up and play it and just not have fun with it. There's too much charm. There's too much of that classic Hot Wheels, environment, all that in there that you're going to feel like a kid again playing it. And that's where, this game hits the home run.
It looks like a lot of fun from what I've seen.
Yeah. I even fired up the stream. Did a little streaming of it, man. Yeah, it was chirping. It was good, yeah.
Got up in the morning, there it was. I was like, oh, a bit of Hot Wheels by Shane. And just watched him race that Batmobile around. Man, it just looks bright and colourful and fun. It just looks like a good time. Like you say, mate, I think by the time Christmas rolls around, this is going to be something that might be quite nicely priced. Might be a little 20 quid game or something. Definitely be on my Christmas stocking list for Father Christmas.
Ooh. Where am I missing these streams? I'm not on any of these platforms. Twitch, is that where you're throwing them?
Yeah, I've been streaming on Twitch, and then I finally figured out how to get it to like save, because I was streaming like some NHL for a while there, and I couldn't figure out how to get it like to save there so I can go back and
like archive your streams.
Yeah, so I figured out how to do that, so that'll be good, and that's just in time for NHL 22 that's coming out this week. Actually, it's out now. Nice. So I'm gonna start streaming some NHL as well. So you can come in and like chirp me on there. I have to like come up with like a schedule and whatnot. And I want to play through a season. This is my goal. I want to play through a season of NHL. I was thinking, hoping I can do like a expansion franchise and just have like my team draft some players and then just play through a season. Like I used to do back in the day. I used to love playing through a season every year. I want to do that, do a few games a week and whatnot. Turn the brain off, have a couple of drinks, play some NHL. Come on in the chat, chirp me, let me know, what I need to do. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm starting to get into that.
What's your Twitch username channel?
ABOG Skippy Nicks.
Love it. 2 X's?
Nice.
3 X's?
Yes, 2 X's.
2 X's.
Yeah.
Skippy Nicks. There you go.
Better order that hot tub.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah. Well, that would be really fun to have a bunch of ladies in a hot tub on a stream.
Yeah, ladies too.
Yeah. At our age.
Love it.
Right?
Yeah. Those are the days. Carl.
Yeah.
What are you playing, buddy, Carl? What's going on over there?
Yeah, what the hell, man? It's been like 3 weeks. What have you been up to?
Hey, first of all, congratulations. This is something that you probably weren't expecting me to bring up, but you successfully fostered that beautiful dog and found her a new home with a couple chaps. I think you did mention that last episode, but I know it was difficult. It's been a couple weeks. It sounds like she's doing great. It's awesome news. Well done.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate that. This was difficult, I guess, because we'd had her for like 5 months. So, seen her through surgery and stuff like that. And she was just such a great dog, great to have around the house and all the rest of it. But she's gone to live on a massive house, loads of land, with two guys who are, they're just wonderful people. So we couldn't have been happier. Like the part we played on just helping her, get set for the rest of the days, really. So yeah, super, super rewarding, and we'll definitely be looking to do more. But we've probably got to move at some point in the next couple of months, so we might be on hold for a little while. But yeah, we'll definitely have more little old staffies to help out, which would be great. Yeah, and I think your gaming took a hit really while we were doing this, especially streaming. Just didn't have the time really. I mean, who does when you got to walk the dog and everything else during the working day? So maybe there might be a stream or two coming back. Who knows? We'll see if people are beating my door down first of all. But I haven't played a great deal last few weeks. To be fair, I've played a bit of Hades. Played a fair bit of that. I think I'm on to the third boss, I think.
On PC? Where are you playing that one at?
This is a game I bought 2 times, and then it was on Game Pass, so I've been playing it on Game Pass. I know. I know, I'm an idiot. So
so am I.
I got it digitally on, I think it was on the Epic Game Store. It was on sale there, and then I got it physically on Switch, and it was just handy. Like, it was just there, ready to install. So I've been playing on Game Pass, and you get the achievements and that. And I'm doing these quests on there where, you end up getting Ultimate for free. If you get an achievement in the game every now and again, things like this. So it just seemed to make sense.
That's Game Pass PC, correct?
Yes, Ultimate, yeah.
Okay.
So I've been playing it on there, and sunk probably 20 hours into that, I think. I haven't managed to escape Hades yet, but getting closer. I might have to turn the God mode on at some point if I'm struggling to get past, because the third boss, you have to fight the Minotaur, and then you have to fight the Minotaur and somebody else with him, whose name escapes me. So it's kind of a more difficult boss fight. But apparently God mode makes it a little bit easier, so I might have a little play with that and turn that on. But I've played a little bit of Diablo Resurrected as well. Just booted that up, had a little step into that today. Pre-ordered it, forgot about it when it came out at the end of September, and then I've been away and whatever else. But they've done a decent job with it. It originally came out in like 2000, and obviously I'm a fan of Diablo 3. Played the hell out of that. A lot PS3, PC, PS4,
Switch,
and Switch and everything. And Diablo 2, obviously older game. A lot of the obviously graphically combat system not as refined as it is in Diablo 3, but it's still it's got a great story to it. It's really it's been polished a little bit. I'm trying to think of what to say, really. I mean, it includes the original expansion, the Lords of Destruction, as well, so that's in there. So it gives you 2 additional character classes to pick from, which I think was the Assassin and the Druid from memory. So you got like 7 classes to pick from, which is pretty good. And it's had a nice little graphical overhaul. It's a bit less. Diablo 3 is kind of like, pick up your quest, go and do it, come back, get a new quest. This is very much more open world. You can kind of just go off and do your thing, and then as you discover the quests, they'll come up in like a little quest menu, and you can go in and have a look and see where you're doing with them. But you can actually just go through and uncover the different areas that you want to play through. It's got a similar loot system and everything else. Durability on weapons hits you harder. It seems to happen sooner, and I'm always encumbered as well. So completely forgot about that. You can still fast travel back to town. Like you can still open your portal, and you can find the waypoints in the fields and the different areas where you can teleport back to town. You can use those like you do in Diablo 3, unlimited amounts, but with the actual teleport back to what was Tristram in Diablo 3, it was kind of bound to a key, and you had an unlimited use of portals. So if you got picked up a load of shit, you could just portal back, sell it, and then get back in your portal, and you're back where you were. These have limited charges, and you have to collect the scrolls to then create your portal, and then you run out of scrolls, and it's like, you can't portal back. So it's some of the quality of life things I think that come out in Diablo 3 you kind of take for granted a little bit, but it's not quite Warcraft 3. It's not as bad as the reforged edition of that. It is solid. I'm enjoying playing it. It's a lot harder than I remember it actually. But probably because I was so used to just flying through Diablo 3. But yeah, for 35 quid or whatever it is, it's still a great game.
Nice. I like the open world aspect that you were describing there. I tried Diablo 3. I got sick of having to go home to go back find a new quest. I didn't like that loop. However, the keeping your inventory quality of life thing, that seems important.
Yeah, I completely forgot how much more difficult that is in Diablo 2 compared to 3. So yeah, that might wear on me a little bit. But if you stock up on the thing, money's never a problem. So you can just buy the scrolls and all the rest of them. But obviously, each scroll you buy takes up inventory space, which is then making you kind of travel back quicker than you would normally do. But you can buy a book. You can buy like a tome where you put the scrolls in, and then again, it takes up a few more slots, but it's probably worth it in the long run. But it's good, man. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying getting back into it. But it's been a long, long time. I don't know what it is about 2021. Like I've finished Knights of the Old Republic. I've gone back to a game that's 21. No, hang on, 2021. Is it 21 years old?
Yeah.
Damn.
Good God. Good. So it's one of them. It's one of them, innit? Just seemed right to do. Like, Diablo 4 is probably next year or the year after. I think Diablo 3 came out in 2013 or something. Must be now. So yeah, we're enjoying it. And it is online multiplayer if the servers are working. They weren't this weekend, which is typical. Come back and they're down. But if you've got it, if you're playing, shoot me. Give me a shout on PlayStation, and I'll jump on and play.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the comfort food games. We keep going back to. I think it's old guy thing, right? And I'm feeling
probably.
I'm feeling this. Like, should I play something new and shiny? No, I'll just buy it, put it in the shelf. I'll play Red Dead for the third time, or I'll play Last of Us Part 2 again.
Or start rewatching MASH again.
Oh my God! I mean, you can't go wrong with MASH.
I still do.
You can't go wrong with MASH.
I still watch it to this day. Like I'll
timeless.
Watch through the entire series and then I'll start it over again. I love it.
Yeah, it's timeless, man. Some of the character switch outs piss me off. It's like, don't get rid of that.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't. They replaced some characters throughout the
You're
course.
a big Trapper John fan, I know.
Thank you. That's the one.
Wasn't he from the Midwest too?
Well, he pulls at my heart, so he might be.
Yeah. Legend.
Yeah.
Never watched it.
All right, I'm out. Okay. Thank you all. Wish you all the best.
It is about that time. It is about that time. Great episode. Thank you for hanging with us, for chilling, listening to us in your ears. We appreciate it. Give us some love at managamerz.com. Discord.
Yeah.
Leave a review.
Yeah. Say hello.
Just, stop by one of Shane's streams or Carl's streams if he gets back to that. Twitter, @AbandonedGamers. Just give us a shout. We appreciate it. Until next time.
Quit taking so many breaks too.
Right? Knock it off.
We're trying to do this every 2 weeks, and we got the listener taking all these weeks off. Like, come on.
Yeah, be consistent. You're
2 weeks.
With us.
Let's do it.
All right, everybody. See you later.
Alligator.
Wow.